Breaking news this morning that Adama Traore is nearly, very nearly, a West Ham United player. We have got all of the breaking news and updates coming to you right here on West Ham Unofficial. It's been reported that Adama Traore's move to West Ham has accelerated over the last few hours, and he is currently at the training ground finalising his move. We will have all of the details and analysis coming next right here on West Ham Unofficial. Yes, it looks as if the 30-year-old is imminently about to join West Ham United today or tomorrow. It's been a deal that has been in the pipeline, we've heard, for quite some time, and it makes sense. Let's not beat around the bush. Adama Traore to West Ham, it's a signing that on many levels and layers makes a lot of sense for West Ham. Nuno managed him previously at Wolves and seemed to get some decent return out of him, and it seems like that connection is looking to be rekindled at West Ham. We're hearing a loan deal is what is being offered until the end of the season, and potentially some sort of survival stroke relegation clause in his contract if he would want to, and if we want to keep him after the end of this season. That seems to be the theme of all of the deals we are trying to get over the line in the final week of this January transfer window. Loans with a sort of option or obligation depending on our league status come the end of this season. Adama Traore has made his way around English football, hasn't he? He's played 71 games for Middlesbrough, 194 appearances for Wolves, 79 for Fulham, where he is now. Never been the most prolific player, but always on his day has been effective, and he sends shivers down the spines of defenders and sort of defensive units because of his blistering pace, power, physicality, and just pure presence, really, that he provides to a forward line. And look, I'm not for one second going to sit here and suggest that Adama Traore is the answer to all of our questions on the wing and he should be starting week in, week out, because at the moment we've got two pretty settled wingers in Jared Bowen and Crysencio Somerville, two players that are looking like they're getting near to back to their best and have been effective in the side. But also then when we got rid of Louis Guilherme, we didn't replace him. So this could be the replacement. And with Lucas Paqueta seemingly imminently departing West Ham United, whether this is going to be an all-in-one replacement for those attacking players in terms of Traore or not. Look, he's an injury-prone player, but he's a player that has done it before in the Premier League and has scored goals and has, got a lot of assists and really performed when it's mattered, whether it's been for Wolves or for Fulham. He's always been some sort of threat, whether it's off the bench or from the start in the Premier League. It seems like he's been run the block. I mean, he's 30 years old, and I actually thought he was older when I was doing a little bit of research before this show. I thought he was 32, 33, but he is only 30. I mean, he's a big old unit. You don't need me to tell you that. As I said, the physicality that he could bring, if he's going to get out wide and if he's going to get a ball into the box, and whether he's a super sub to take maybe one of Bowen and Somerville off to give him a rest with 20 minutes to go, then maybe get him, playing off of one of the strikers, then you're going to present real problems to a back line, especially with 20 minutes to go, a tiring back line. The last thing that a team wants to see is, for example, Callum Wilson and Adama Traore coming off the bench as a sort of impact super subs, because they can be threatening on their day if they get the ball in the right areas. So I can see the strategy. I can see the logic from West Ham. It's a cheap option, of course it is, but as I've said throughout the whole of this January transfer window, it's not as if we're shopping in the deluxe aisle, are we? Let's be honest. We're not shopping at Waitrose or Marks and Spencers. We're shopping at Aldi or Lidl. Other supermarkets are, of course, available. So we've got to sort of take what's almost offered to us and be wise in our selections. Listen, none of us had heard of Pablo and Tati before they came to the club in early January. Yeah, they haven't ripped up trees, but they have evidently made an impact to West Ham. They have improved us, just their presence, and with Nuno playing two up front, we have looked so much better since they came to the club. I don't think anyone can really dispute that. So maybe that can happen again. Listen, I've eaten humble pie many a time over a West Ham transfer, and I've been right many times over West Ham transfers. I sat here and criticised the sort of logic and ramifications of signing Craig Dawson, and he was excellent, and he cost just 2 or 3 million pounds. I think it's key and crucial that we sign players now with Premier League experience. Adama Traore ticks that box. I think it's key that we sign players that are going to bring us that sort of pace and energy and real physicality. Someone that's going to roll their sleeves up. He hasn't got any sleeves because he wears a small shirt that, like, sort of, what let's say, accentuates his biceps for all to see. So someone that's going to metaphorically roll their sleeves up and really put a shift in. I think we've got a player of that ilk in Adama Traore. Not the most gifted player in the world, but someone with some skill and real drive, and someone that's going to, if we got our back against the wall, he could drive us up the pitch. And that is one thing that we've missed in recent years, is pace. Now all of a sudden, if you've got him coming off of the bench, you've got Somerville with a bit of pace. Bowen's sharp, but hasn't got massive pace. Wan-Bissaka, Juve with pace. Fernandes in midfield can get himself about as well. So all of a sudden, we're beginning to introduce quite a few pacey outlets into our side, and that's exactly what is needed. Let's see who's joining us in the chat. Good afternoon. Yeah, a good impact sub. Absolutely. There's no doubt in that one. We'll go through some. There's a poll in the live chat, so if you're watching us live here on YouTube, head into the live chat and hit yes or no. So the question is: Traore a good move for West Ham? We've got 14 votes. Let's try and get that up to 20 at least, so we can get a good sort of parameter and gauge on West Ham fans' thoughts. So go over and get involved in the poll on the live chat if you're watching us now. Let's have a look here. Hi, Jake and all. I'm all right with Traore coming in, but he ain't a massive bonus, but it's a body that knows the Prem and must have been in a relegation fight with Wolves. Come on, you irons. I think I'm going to echo your sentiment, mate, Malkster, to be honest. I think absolutely. He's not going to. Listen, maybe he might come in and score 4 or 5 goals and be the difference between us staying up and not at the end of the day. That is the sort of, player that he could be and the sort of impact that he could make. Or he could come, pop his hamstring and play 2 games in 5 months. Both of those could happen, and they're at very contrasting ends of the sort of successful spectrum for January transfers and recruits. But yeah, listen, I'm going to hone in and reinforce that Premier League experience point, because we've signed a couple of players from outside of the Premier League and they've come in and they've actually been decent. Tati and Pablo have improved us, as I said earlier. But I think now we need to bring in, especially in those attacking areas, to just come in off the bench and sit off those other 2 players, is bring in somebody that knows what he's doing, as said in that comment there, who's been in a relegation battle before, knows what's needed, and can come on and, all right, not play a full 90 minutes and look dangerous, but have 20, half an hour, have that sort of burst at the end of the game. Potentially he might not play on Saturday against Chelsea, but if it's 1-1 with 20 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge, which is a pretty real possibility, on Saturday evening. Imagine if then with 25 minutes to go, we could bring Wilson and Traore on. All of a sudden, then those Chelsea defenders are sitting back thinking, blimey, we have got a sort of real game on our hands here, and they could cause defenders no end of problems. No end of problems. So I think it's a risk that we should take, and it's worth taking. In terms of Traore, there's not that much in it in terms of money. I've heard that there was a sort of £7 or £8 million figure that was being banded around, but it seems like we've convinced Fulham to a loan deal or a free transfer if they were to terminate his contract potentially. So look, at the end of the day, it's a relatively risk-free transfer in January. Premier League experience. I don't think. I don't think that I particularly can see too many risks with that. It might go wrong, fine, but nothing is a guarantee, and I think we've ticked quite a few boxes of good parameters in terms of that. We'll have a little look at his stats this season for Fulham. Let's see how many games he's played. That's all seasons, so let's have a little look. So he's currently at Fulham, and this season He's had 15 appearances in the Premier League, so he's not started too many games. He's played 262 minutes, so he's played an average of 17 minutes per game. So again, he's been that super sub. So to me, he's played 15 games. He's played 262 minutes across the Premier League this season. So he's played an average of 17 minutes per game. He's coming on with 15, 20 minutes to go to try and have a real impact to go and maybe grab a point or grab all 3 points in a game. That is, again, probably the sort of impact and role and job that he would have at West Ham. So he's already suited to it. He did it in his last year or so at Wolves. He's doing it at Fulham, and maybe he'll get a little bit more game time if he comes to West Ham, and maybe that's what is going through his mind there. He's heavily participated in the EFL Cup and FA Cup, so he's been that sort of squad player who can have that deadly impact if needed. No goals or assists in the Premier League. But at West Ham, let's hope that he can do just that little bit better. We'll go back into last season. So in the 2024-25 season, 36 games played, 7 assists and 2 goals. So 9 goal contributions in 36 games. That's a goal contribution every 4 games. If we can increase that a little bit, that's good. At the end of the day, that's good. And if we can get him, if we can half that, maybe a goal or assist every other game, then he's doing his job well in that sense. Right, let's take some of your comments. Traore could be our new Antonio. Absolutely, Paul. He could be that player that is going to run defenders ragged, turn them left and right, and really cause problems to a back line. As long as it's cost effective and no risk. And I think that's I think that's essentially what it is. And that is the sort of deals that we need to try and find and acquire in this January transfer window. It's about finding players on loan, on a free transfer, that have done it before and could hopefully do it again in the Premier League. Absolutely. Graham, hope you well. Good morning from Alberta. He seems massively wasteful with no little or end product, so it's a no for me, but I hope I'm wrong. Fair enough. Listen, we've all got contrasting thoughts. He hasn't ripped the world up this season and last for Fulham, but maybe in a new side under Nuno, a manager that he thrived under at Wolves a few years ago, then maybe we could get the best out of him once again. Just think of Jesse Lingard and the impact that he had. Paul, bet you love uni, 17 minutes a week. A little bit longer than that, but I finished for the day. Yes, I finished at 1:15, and I was live on YouTube at 1:30. See, the work ethic right here on West Ham Unofficial is second to none. He can win fouls and precious defenses, absolutely, yeah. So he can get those fouls out. And with the way that Fernandes was hitting that ball on Saturday, then maybe we do want to try and get a few more fouls and free kicks around that 20, 25, 30-yard area. He'll take on defenders. He'll be a hassling player, and I'd be really excited under Nuno to see what we could get out of him for sure. I am in agreement now. Let's have a little look at the poll, shall we? So we've had 21 votes. Is Traore to West Ham a good move? And we have 81% of you saying yes, 19% of you saying no. So final call for that. Have a little go on that poll on the live chat, yes or no, or if you're watching after the show, put it into the comment section with your thoughts, yes or no. Adama Traore, would you take him currently at West Ham? So just to reiterate, the news that we've received this morning from X, the most reputable West Ham source, was that this deal is accelerating and he has arrived at the training ground. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Rush Green, the training ground? I think that's what it's called. Anyway, you know what I mean. He is at the training ground and they are finalising a deal for Adama Traore, which I think is a relatively risk-free move. Listen, Fabrizio Romano called Here We Go 3 days ago. He said that a verbal agreement has been reached, and it stalled a little bit over the weekend, we're hearing, and now it seems like we've getting it going again. He's made the short trip over from Fulham to West Ham and finalising the deal, which is all good. Does he take corners, pens, or free kicks, Jake? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, for me, if it was me, I haven't watched a great deal of him lately, but I'd be getting him on the end of corners, just get him around the goalkeeper, not fouling the keeper, but he could be a hassle and maybe sort of free a couple of defenders. Because you think that if he's coming on with 15 minutes to go, they might have to double up on him, and especially in the box as well from corners. So then that could, open the door for Soucek to come in and head one in. So he could be a threat from corners. he could be a threat. And I mean, Gerard Bowen took an excellent penalty on Saturday against Sunderland. The keeper went the right way, and it couldn't have gone more in the corner if he tried. Free kicks, I'm not so sure, but he could be a real threat from corners. Can he play on Saturday? We haven't received official confirmation yet. I think he will have to be. I think he's got to be registered by midday on Friday, so I'm pretty sure we should get there with that one. Hopefully, it'll be finalised and announced in the next 24, maximum 48 hours, and he should be eligible if he's fit to play or be on the bench as a super sub for our trip to Stamford Bridge this Saturday. It is Rush Green. I was pretty sure it was, but I wasn't entirely sure. We now need cover for Fernandez and a centre back. I'm in agreement 100%. I've got a transfer show coming out a little bit later on where I talk about Guido Rodriguez and the sort of ramifications of that deal being done with him leaving the club. So yeah, I think we need a midfielder and a centre back. I 100% agree. That is where we need to be going for sure. A centre back, because Kilman is simply not good enough, is he? And we need some backup cover, squad depth there for that one. So as I said, this deal is reaching the final stage. We're expecting the deal to be done. Adama Traore is very nearly a West Ham United player. He is at the training ground and the deal is being done as we speak. So that's exciting. It all went a little bit quiet in terms of incomings, didn't it? We were bombarded with 2 players signing for the club in the first, what was it, 3 days of the transfer window. Then it all went quiet, but it seems like we're ramping it up again now. And I'll have a transfer video a little bit later on outlining all of the other potential deals and rumours that are currently ongoing for West Ham. So that's to come later. But for me, thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved in this live show on this Tuesday lunchtime. You can all head back to work or whatever you were doing with your Tuesday. And I'm going to end that poll so we get the final results of it, because I always think that's interesting to sort of gauge the gauge the outlook and perspective. And it's ended. Is Traore to West Ham a good move? 78% of you saying yes, 22% of you saying no. There we are, 23 votes, 78% yes, 22% no, and that is that. I'm actually going to Barnet versus Tranmere Rovers tonight in League Two, just up the road from me at Wembley. Ticking another ground off of that ground map there. So you may see a little bit of content from the Hive later on. Maybe I'll do a bit of scouting for West Ham and see who is available. Thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved. Cheers, Paul. Keep the faith, absolutely. And from me, come on, you irons, and I will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Bye bye.